Hi there bike riders, welcome to this week's video where we are looking at the infamous car door zone bike lanes, or car door death zone bike lanes as I like to call them. I'm the Bike Route Buddy, bringing you videos about bike infrastructure around Geelong and further afield. Click on the subscribe button to see more. For those of you unfamiliar with this type of bike lane, it is where the bike lane is positioned between the parked cars and the traffic lane. People in cars often inadvertently open car doors in front of the bike riders, causing them to crash, usually ending up in the traffic lane. And in the worst case scenario, a driver in a car in the traffic lane hits them. There are usually a number of these incidents around Australia each year, and a few deaths. These type of bike lanes are a classic cheap way for authorities to meet active transport targets and greenwash their city transport statistics. All the reports will say how many bike lanes there are and what a great job the council is doing providing infrastructure for bike riders. I've actually asked the City of Greater Geelong how many kilometres of bike lanes they have, but the answer was they do not capture this information. But are these car door zone bike lanes useful for bike riders? And do they encourage more people to mode shift from driving to bike riding? We'll look at the top 10 car door death zone bike lanes in Geelong and include a bit of social media discussion about some of these lanes. Alright, so let's get started. Coming in at number 10 is Mount Pleasant Road in Belmont. You can see a very faded bicycle marker on the road. So it looks like I'm expected to ride in this lane, even though it looks like the line marking maintenance is a bit lacking. The lane is so narrow, I don't think I could even keep in this lane without my handlebars touching the wing mirror of the cars. If a person in one of these cars opened their door, it would take up the entire bike lane. Traffic is moving along here at 60 kilometres per hour, so no one is going to want to slow down and move for me so I can get out of the bike lane to go safely around a parked car. As I go down the hill, I generate some speed. There isn't any way I'm riding this close to the cars. There's another bike symbol, so it looks like I'm still expected to ride here. I'm not sure why I only put this one at number 10. Number 9 is still in Belmont, along Roslyn Road, which is one road further south. Let's head out of the Highton Village and up the hill to the east towards Belmont. I'm not sure if I'd actually call this a car door death zone bike lane, as I can't even get in the bike lane with cars and trucks parked in it. Is this one a bike lane or a car park? I don't think it can be both. I'm going to need some pretty narrow bars to stay inside the white line. There are plenty of signs and markings telling me I should be in this lane, but this bus driver doesn't seem to think I should be. People complain that cyclists don't use the bike lane. I wonder why. Further up, the car parking lane labelled as bike lane gets a bit wider, but I still can't get out of the car door death zone and stay in the lane. This road is also 60 kilometres per hour, so no one wants to slow down and give me space to get around the car door zone. There are no parked cars in this section, so it's pretty good along here. But hey, did the driver of that Camry even register I was here? Can this driver do this? Let's have a look at the Vic Roads rules. Bicycle lane rules for drivers. If you're driving a car, you're not allowed to drive in the bike lane unless you're driving for 50 metres or less to enter or leave the road, to turn at an intersection, overtake a vehicle that's turning right or making a U-turn from the centre of the road. Seems like this is what that driver was trying to do. Avoid an obstruction, e.g. a broken down vehicle. Get from one part of the road to another. Enter the traffic stream after being parked on the side of the road. Pick up or drop off passengers if you're driving a public bus, public minibus or taxi. Or there's a sign indicating that vehicles can use the bike lane. But most crucially, the last point is you must give way to cyclists already in the bike lane. So that driver should definitely have given way to me, not just because of the road rules, but because they shouldn't want to kill someone. This also applies to that McHarry's bus we saw earlier. Moving on to number 8. This is Aberdeen Street in Newtown. It is a bit wider than the last two that we've looked at, but not by much. A car door would certainly take you out if someone opened one in front of your path. Again, traffic is moving at 60 kilometres per hour, so it's not going to be pretty if you get knocked off in front of one of these overtaking cars. I always find it pretty funny that cars continually perform risky manoeuvres to overtake along roads like this. But then I just catch up to them again at the traffic lights. Can't use the bike lane here with this trailer parked, so I have to pull out of the bike lane. Now let's watch this ute and trailer push past. Luckily I can move over before the trailer comes past me. Zooming up to the lights, I pretty much caught up with it again. So do I have to ride in the bike lane? Well, according to Vic Roads, if there's a bicycle lane on the road heading in the same direction as you, You must use this when riding a bike, unless it is not practical to do so. That entire journey along Aberdeen Street was in the car door zone, so I would suggest that it is not practical to do so. And while we're at it, according to Vic Roads, you don't have to use an off-road bicycle path, separated footpaths or shared paths if there is one when riding a bike. You can choose to ride on the road instead if you wish, e.g. local roads, arterial roads and multi-lane roads. But you cannot ride on urban freeways. Number 7. Ryrie Street is a ripper of a car door death zone. It is a constant smorgasbord of close passes and worrying if someone will open a car door. It's a bit slower along here at least, at 40 km an hour. But that would still kill you if you got doored into the path of a car. I posted this section on social media a little while back, and there were a few insightful comments. This one from Michelle. I used to ride it years ago when I was in town most days of the week, but after getting hit twice in a matter of weeks, I gave up and decided I wanted to live more than afford to eat, so I started taking the car and paying for parking. And here's another one from Zachary. Definitely a route I avoid if I can. I much prefer to ride down Malop Street instead, unless it's early morning or later evening and there's not much traffic on Ryrie. I guess that answers my question from earlier as to whether these kinds of lanes result in a mode shift from driving to riding. Number 6 is Barrabool Road in Highton. Not much I need to say about this one. It's pretty obvious that it's a car door zone and it would take me out if someone opened a car door. This section is between the Barwon River and Highton Village. It isn't much better after Highton Village before you get to South Valley Road. The list is inexhaustible, so I'll throw in a few honourable mentions, or dishonourable mentions if you prefer. I could have gone on all day with car door zone bike lanes, but I had to draw the line somewhere. If you think your local car door zone bike lane is a cracker and has been omitted, let us know in the comments. So here's the first one. McCurdy Road in Herne Hill. We did a whole video about this one. The car door zone bike lane just disappears after Highland Street. Boundary Road in Newcombe or East Geelong. I got yelled at by a driver one time when moving out of the bike lane to go around a car parked along here. I can't repeat what was said, but I'm sure he's usually a nice person and would like to enjoy a coffee with me. Maybe it's only the sight of bike riders that really ticks him off. Townsend Road in Whittington is a good one. Garden Street in East Geelong, only for a couple of blocks. Vines Road, Hamlin Heights. Minerva Road in Herne Hill. And this is one of my favourite ones, Bellevue Avenue in Highton. It has some sections of curb protected bike lanes, but in between you either have a car park masquerading as a bike lane or a car door death zone bike lane. There are dozens more, but let's get back to the countdown. Number 5. This is a controversial one. Malop Street has one block of awesome bike lane on block 2 through the centre of town. But block 1 is a car door death zone, but with the green paint to really encourage you to ride in the dual zone. Drivers expect you to ride in the bike lane, but it is just dangerous. But when you move out to go around potential door openings, you cop abuse for not riding in the bike lane. Block 3 has a bit of a buffer from the car doors, but block 4 onwards is the perfect example of the genre of bike lane we are describing. Number 4 is the Surf Coast Highway in Grovedale. This is a long stretch of road with bike lanes disguised as car parking, or the other way round. It is 60 km per hour the whole way and very limited room to move past parked vehicles. Moving on to number 3, this is one of my favourites, West Fine Street. Listed on the active travel maps for Geelong, it starts off as a car door death zone bike lane and then transforms into just a death zone as you get closer to Latrobe Terrace. There have been plans to upgrade this intersection with Latrobe Terrace, but I don't think we'll extend to upgrade the car door death zone bike lane along Fine Street. It is the same going back the other way. Check out the full video we made on this section. Number 2 is Mercer Street. This, like West Fine Street, not only features on the active travel maps, but also on the Principal Bicycle Network. The only principles about this bike lane is the principle that cars get all the space. Along here, we have a classic example of teeth gritting as we go past a car that has just pulled up, and the driver is likely to open their door right in front of me, just while I'm getting overtaken by a little white car. At least it's not one of those utes with the high front, but a little white car could still kill me if I hit an opening car door. What I find really interesting is that if you asked anyone driving if they would drive closer to the parked cars than the white lane, they would say no, it's far too close and would be dangerous. Why then do we put bike riders that don't have 2 tons of steel around them in this zone that no one would drive in? I'm starting to get the picture why people say they wouldn't ride into town because it's just too dangerous. Alright, let's move on to number 1. This might be controversial, but you make up your own mind. This is the top of my list. Number 1 is Packington Street. We made a whole video about how narrow the bike lanes are along here, and it is physically impossible for a car to overtake a bike rider, while still allowing the mandatory 1 metres of overtaking space. According to Vic Roads, when drivers pass a bicycle rider, they must leave a space of at least 1 metre between their vehicle and the rider on roads with speed limits up to 60 km per hour. If drivers are travelling on roads with speed limits over 60 km per hour, they must leave a space bigger than 1.5 metres between their vehicle and the bicycle rider. This street has a lot going on. Cars looking to park, cars just wanting to get through, cars turning, cars coming out of side roads, people opening doors to get out of cars. Here are a couple of comments we got from about Packington Street video. This one from Aussie Stew Babe. Yeah, I avoid that road as much as I can, car, motorbike or push bike. And this one from Hypersquivel. Ride it every day, almost doored every day. Anyway, we'll leave it there. That's our top 10 of the car door death zone bike lanes. I'm not sure why authorities still persist with these kind of bike lanes. They do nothing to encourage active travel and often make it less safe for bike riders, as drivers expect bike riders to ride in the car door zone in the bike lane. I'm sure there are more of these in Geelong, maybe even some more that are worse than these, but I had to draw the line somewhere. You might not agree with my ranking, but we probably all agree that there has to be a better design than the car door death zone bike lane. Once again, thanks for watching. I'm the Bike Route Buddy. Click on the subscribe button for more videos. I'll see you riding in a bike lane that doesn't have car doors being opened into it.